they're always there. Action Force are there. Action Force will dare. Action Force. Now, your host, Joe Slepsky.
Hello again, everybody. It's me, your host, Joe Slepsky, and we are back this week for part 2 of our 7th episode. So I don't know if this is your 8th episode or if this is 7.5, whatever it is. It's part 2 from last week's elongated Action Force breakdown with Michael Nie. This is the Joe-Nie Loves Action Force special series. I think this makes it a 12-part series officially. We're really loving doing it. I hope all of you are enjoying this. If this is the first time you're hearing this, please go back in the last 6 weeks or so and check it out from the beginning. Michael is a listener and a friend and an avid Joe fan who brought the Action Force weeklies into my life, and we've been going through them from issue 1 all the way to the end, and we're learning a lot about the differences, a lot of cultural differences between the U.S. and England. It's been great. So we appreciate all of you. If you are new to the show, please say hi on social media at Joe and Joe Pod. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can send me an email to joeandjoepod@gmail.com. Let us know what you're thinking about this. And remember, we recorded this literally 6 months before it aired. So a lot of our references may be absolutely out of date, talking about toy releases that have already been out for a few months. So please bear with us there. But it's really a lot of fun. So I hope you check it out. I also hope you check out our sponsors, the Movies and a Meal podcast. They've covered all the movies, all the meals, all the great TV shows. You need to give them a listen. And now, without any further ado, let's dive back in. We're about to dig into, I believe, issue 32 of Action Force Weekly. Pip, pip, cheerio, full force. It's funny. So we're going to move on to issue 32.
32, which is a one-shot.
One-shot. Those faces remind me of the early issues of Doctor Who with covers by Dave Gibbons that Marvel put out. If you look at it, it's the Doctor with the rainbow scarf, whatever number that was, the like permed afro. Look at the faces. He is doing this ace thing. He's screaming in all of them. There is a look of shock and disgust on Doctor Who's face on every single cover for that run. It's funny.
Yeah.
He's doing all wild, 100 totally different things on every cover. But if you look at his face, he is shocked and appalled on every single cover.
Speaking of covers, so cover to 32.
Awesome.
Yeah, and this is Barbecue and Airtight.
Don't often see them featured, and certainly not together.
Definitely, with a radioactive logo behind them, and Barbecue saying, "Okay, Airtight, let's atomize him." So
it's a great cover. It's a great cover because it's two characters we don't normally see. I don't love the design of it.
Sure.
I think the radioactive placement should be lower and bigger. It should be not like it just should be a big force on that page. Action Force cuts it off, so it's kind of hard even to tell what it is. I think you can get rid of the or move the dialogue over. I don't know. I don't love the design layout, but I love the drawings of the dudes.
Well, this is a rare instance where the cover artist also drew the interiors, and you'll recognize the name Anthony Williams, who drew the Gunpoint.
Great.
I
wonder if he did the. I wonder if he just drew the characters and then they did a layout on it. Yeah, you know what I mean.
That's a good question.
Like because the post ups, they'll paste up.
Yeah.
They'll lay the logo in and go, okay, we need something in the back here, and then they'll put because it just feels imbalanced. I don't love it, but I love the characters though, and I love seeing them featured on a cover like that. More of that, please.
Yeah. So
and they're well read.
You'll recognize the art style as we get into this as reminiscent of Gunpoint, and then written by Ford Allen, who did the plot, and Ian Rimmer did the script.
Awesome. Well, they did a great job. This is a fun train adventure. Like that. What is it? Invincible? No, not Invincible. Into Unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
Yeah. So you're on a runaway train, or like the film Runaway Train.
That's the title of this story.
That's the title of the story. So two goons in camouflage. I don't know that they're. Do we know that they're Cobra?
It's not No,
it's not Cobra.
It's not established.
It's really not Cobra. Mm-mm. Yeah, 2 dudes in camouflage and black balaclavas.
Yeah,
balaclava masks.
They're
ski masks, black ski masks. They break
balaclavas.
Yeah, they break into the cabin of this train. Now this train, if you look closely, and frankly, read the thought balloon. He's shunting nuclear waste about the countryside, so they're carrying nuclear waste, and the train gets attacked, and these dudes, they stop the train and they set these thermite charges. They're timed to blow in 15 minutes, and they ask if the guy, there's another conductor, or at least he's he's with them with his terrorists or something. We're not actually sure if he was there first or if he came with them. I have a feeling he was there first.
Yeah.
Like he was the inside man on this job.
Mm-hmm.
And he's dressed like a normal conductor. And they go, is that a problem if there's going to be some fire? And, what we're doing is not going to be safe for you is what they're saying. And he says, let's face it, I'm going to die anyway, one way or the other. So he puts his foot down on the old dead man switch on the train, and it gets chugging along. These 2 dudes are like, all right, it's off. All they care about is getting the cash. He, I'm assuming it's Timpson, paid us plenty. If he wants to commit suicide, that's his business. Let's make that call. So then they call, I'm assuming, government or action force. And we get right to it. Runaway train. The thermite charges have exploded. So now it's 15 minutes later.
No brakes.
There's fire. The brakes have been melted. These dragonflies are back. Flint's flying one. He's got airtight in it. And they say those nuclear waste containers are almost indestructible. Remember, they crashed an engine into one to test them recently. So, nuclear waste, they have to dispose them. They put them in these indestructible things, then they bury them in the ground. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like Airtight's arguing, just let it crash.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically saying, we don't really have to stop this thing because it's just going to be a heap of inert.
Yeah. But Action Force has to do what Action Force has to do. So Airtight and Barbecue are going to airdrop onto them. Barbecue's there to put the fire out, which he does expertly. And Airtight's there because it's a dangerous hazmat situation.
He's got his Geiger counter.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. That's right. That's actually really important. Mm-hmm. He says, they get on there, says, no problem. For the record, my Geigers aren't picking up any radioactivity. So those containers are still intact, and they're not damaged by any stretch of the imagination. They're not slowly making mutants as they travel through the British countryside. But they can't loosen the coupling. So they were going to try to unloose it from the
engine.
From the engine. They can't do that. They do put the fire out, and they make their way towards the front. And they come in axe heavy.
This is full on Shining style.
Total Shining style.
Where's Johnny? Barbecue. It's amazing. I love
it. Barbecue's just using his axe, reminiscent of the shipwreck. You're destroying, you're burning my platform. He's no. The fire's doing that. I'm just hacking it with, I'm tearing it up or whatever. However, he made that distinction. That was great.
Not only smashes the window, he literally hacks through half the door here. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And the guy pulls a gun on Barbecue, but then Airtight comes in from behind him. He says, "Stay where you are. I'll shoot." He says, "Dude, you don't even know that you're not gonna. Those nuclear wastes aren't gonna do anything." And he goes, "But do you want to risk it?" And that's when Airtight makes his move. So he never heard Airtight come in. They get the gun away from the guy because he's a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, he's not going to stand up to a couple action forcers.
He's no Crimson Guard who can change in front of a class full of children.
Exactly.
He doesn't have those skills.
No, he doesn't. So they said earlier the guy has a dead man switch, meaning once he takes his pressure off the gauge, then the engine's going to slow. You need that. It's a safety thing. So as soon as they took the guy out of his seat, the engine started to slow down. But now their Geigers have started to go crazy, and they realize it's the guy. He really died in a nuclear power plant accident months ago, and he's been walking around radioactive, slowly dying. By the way, thanks a lot, dude. Giving cancer to your friend here, the other engineer.
Yeah.
Who's just that guy's sitting there going, "Wait a minute, what? this whole time you've been throwing. I mean, you're throwing off Geiger radiation. Like you're measurable on a Geiger counter. You couldn't. Oh man! And then the guy jumps from the train. He kills himself.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely crazy.
No questions asked.
Yeah, no questions asked. And then the train comes to a rolling stop because there was that dead man switch, right? So it comes to a stop barely. They bail out just in time. Next time we go by rail, my Italian friend, and then that is airtight, saying that to barbecue.
So
barbecue's Italian.
Yep.
And he says, let's stay inside the train, huh? Okay. Michael. They didn't do anything.
No.
This is the ultimate. People like to point out on Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, if Indiana Jones wasn't there, the same things would have happened. And probably would have killed the Fuhrer because he would have went to the island and found the thing and he would have died. If they didn't do anything here, I mean, I guess it would have hit the train station.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they saved.
Well, they saved this guy. Because when that train crashed, they both would have gone up in a ball of flames.
Yeah, so they saved the guy, the other engineer, and they saved the train station. But when I say they, the only thing they did was get his foot off the dead man switch.
Yeah.
They didn't apply the brakes. That's what I'm saying. They didn't apply the brakes.
Sure.
They didn't figure out a way to get the train to stop.
Yeah.
They didn't kill the guy. They just, by chance, were like, stand up. And when he stood up, the train started slowing down. And then he killed himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
They put out the fire, but the fire wasn't doing anything other than making it so you couldn't detach the nuclear waste.
Right.
Nuclear waste wasn't going to spill because we established they're indestructible.
It was a lot of effort for...
It's a lot. I'm saying a sniper rifle could have done the same thing. Could have done the exact same thing. You tell this story and put low light on the other end of it. And as that train comes around the bend, story's done.
That's right.
Story's over. Everyone's safe. So as much as I do love, I really enjoyed seeing these two in action together.
Sure.
They were kind of ineffectual.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. It's fun though. So that's it. That's all I got to say about Runaway Train.
Yeah. In the mail call section on this issue, there was a call for stories outside of just London because they're like, everything takes place in London. How about Scotland? How about whatever?
Right.
And the answer they got was, well, a lot of terrorist activity does take place in London. And then this was where they got a question about when readers might see Frostbite. And they said that we have seen him in the G.I. Joe reprint story recently. But they're lying completely to the readers because it's Snow Job in all of these G.I. Joe reprints. For whatever reason, Richard Starkings, you've done an amazing job, except for some reason you think Snow Job is Frostbite, which is not true.
Oh.
And they keep they list the personnel at the beginning of the book and they keep saying that Frostbite is in all of these G.I. Joe reprint stories and it's all Snow
Maybe it's
Job.
function, not form.
Yeah.
This guy's always getting Frostbite, so let's call him Frostbite.
So when we actually get to the Christmas time and they say we're going to see Frostbite, the leader of the mountain and polar, regions of the world, I'm curious to see if it's actually Frostbite or if it's Snow Job. The only other thing I'll say about the G.I. Joe reprints that were happening at the same time, these are all supposed to be Crimson Guardsmen.
Yep.
And as you can see, they look more like his tank drivers to me.
They really do, yeah.
So I just want to give kudos to the British team for rendering the Crimson Guardsmen as Crimson Guardsmen.
Totally.
Maybe with a little bit more detail than we were in G.I. Joe at the time.
Well, I think... Are you sure? So did we cross-reference that to the actual G.I. Joe issue? Were they drawn like that? Or is that them redrawing them?
No, they were drawn like that.
So the original G.I. Joe issue does have them drawn more like his tank drivers.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And I just wanted to show you, Joe. So this is the G.I. Joe reprint story. That character.
It's a great issue, yeah.
That's Long Slide there.
Oh, Long Slide. Hey, buddy.
So
driving the armadillo.
Yeah. So yeah, this was just to catch up the readers. This was the G.I. Joe issue. It was reprinted from
the one with the twins on the cover of the roller
38,
coaster,
I think,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. A great issue.
Anyway, it was the intro to the armadillo was being introduced as a toy.
Yeah, that's it. That run, man, from like 30, between like 20, well, the whole run's great, but from like 24 is 25 and 26 or 26, 27? What was the Snake Eyes origin? It was 24, 25, 25, 26, right? It's 26, 27.
26, 27, yeah.
From 26 to like 45,
Mm-hmm.
that 20 issue run, stop it. Stop it. Unbelievable stuff. And then obviously going into the 50 stuff with the big battle is great. But that run, that right around those, I'm not sure exactly where you would stop really. Maybe you go all the way to 50. That 2-year run of G.I. Joe is just
so good.
Is just so good. So many ideas, so many things popping. All right, so let's get to the next issue.
All right.
We got clocks are ticking.
Final story arc.
Thank
here.
you for hanging out with us. We're trying to break these up into manageable chunks, and we ran into this section where we're like a bunch of one shots.
This was a big chunk.
This was a big chunk, so we appreciate you coming along on this ride with us. So we've got this issue. It's called Sunday Drivers. It's a 2-parter. It's from issues 33 and 34.
33 and 34. Yeah.
All right. That is Bazooka?
Yeah. So this is a story featuring Bazooka and an Awe Striker, and he goes up against some Dreadnoks, as evidenced by
Do we know, is this version of Bazooka British or is he American? I forget. Is he one of the ones that they transferred over?
I believe he's American. I'll have to fact check that.
Because I had the thought of, if he was British, why is he wearing a football uniform?
Right.
And why not a football sweater?
They didn't do an intelligence profile on Bazooka,
Yeah,
so
I wonder.
But yeah, so cover. So you'll recognize Jeff Senior is back in action.
Oh,
here.
that's great.
And
I like. I feel like Action Force did a lot of these close-up face covers, because this is another one. You know, like the Crimson Guard one. It's just close up of his face. You get Buzzers. Or is that Ripper or Buzzer?
Buzzer.
Buzzer. You get Buzzer's chainsaw.
Yep.
Or Ripper's the tin can.
And I like that instead of just a solid red background here, they have what I'm going to equate to. It's like granular, like sawdust or something. I don't know.
It gives a feeling of like blood spray.
Texture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I agree.
So
I like it.
yeah,
So we open up. We're on a test base, and they're in a it's Bazooka and an Awe Striker. They're shooting up a Cobra Vamp, or Stinger, not a Vamp, but a Cobra Stinger, and it's Bazooka with some scientist dude, and the Awe Striker is shooting the cannon that's on top of that's normally on top of the Awe Striker, but we see that there's an additional minigun sitting right next to the traditional Awe Striker cannon. And they're there to test that new gun.
Yep.
That new experimental weapon. We don't exactly know what it does yet. This next panel, very much the vibes of, from their introduction, from that burn cover, I feel like because the Dreadnoks were introduced as people who tore up fences and went and drove places they weren't supposed to, that we see that a lot with them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if you're handing someone a reference, they're like, I'm going to draw this next issue. Okay, I need to use Dreadnoks. I don't know anything about Dreadnoks. What do? And you hand them an issue, and in that issue, the first appearances, they're ripping through a fence. Your brain goes, well, I need to show them ripping through a fence.
So you know for the movie what the opening sequence
It's
is.
going to be them ripping through a
Chain
fence.
link
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, it's one of those, like, when it was first established that way, so everyone since feels they need to put that in there. And I don't love that.
Yeah.
Because you see that a lot in movies or whatever. I don't necessarily love that because they think that you need that to identify with them. But it is what it is.
It is.
So there they are, destroying chain link. Maybe, you know what? Maybe their families own fence corporations, like big fence. And they're like, if we destroy all of them, they'll have to get repaired.
Destro has Mars. They have a mini operation.
Yeah, they're a fencing operation. They fence a fencing operation. That's exactly what's happening here. And at the same time, there's an old soldier named Alfred Taylor, and he's out for a walk on a nice Sunday afternoon.
Coming out of his retirement home.
Yes, very nice, very nice. And so Bazooka's on the field, and it's the weapons range in Stonebury. And he's going to tune the laser targeting system for this weapon. And he looks over his shoulder, and Phelps has been knocked out. I will say this about the art. They're light on backgrounds.
Yeah.
I don't love that. A lot of times, though, that's often a case of being rushed. like maybe it was a deadline, the dreaded deadline doom. So you get the pertinent information in the panels and not necessarily a lot. So there's not like they didn't even draw grass where Phelps has been knocked out, right? But we see the Dreadnoks are there. It's Buzzer and Ripper.
I wasn't sure if Phelps was dead or not.
He might. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he might be. And they're threatening him, and they go, "Hey, mate, we're gonna steal your weapon." And Buzzer buzzsaws this experimental laser off the top of the Ostriker. Now, they messed up Phelps. Why they also wouldn't mess up Bazooka, I don't understand. Oh, actually, he says that. Think of how hard you'll laugh when the story gets around that we just waltzed into an Action Force testing site and swiped this gizmo right from under their noses. So it's kind of like, we're going to let you live so that you live in the embarrassment of it.
Yeah.
Which is great. And they drive off laughing. And we check in on that older gentleman. He's going to the mall to hang out and have a nice day watching the fountain at the mall. We see Phelps is alive, thankfully. And Bazooka says, the Dreadnoks have stolen your new gun, but don't worry, I'm going to go get him. Don't tell anyone this just happened. I got to cover myself. So this is a fun little ticking clock reason. You know what I mean? Why is Bazooka just not calling in the cavalry? It's because he doesn't want to be embarrassed that he got one-upped by them. So he takes off in the Ostriker and follows the trail of destruction that the Dreadnoks have left through the English countryside. They've blown up a shell station. They've torn up street signs. And then here comes Bazooka. Here's what I like about this. And I don't know if this was meant to be this way, if it was inadvertent, just to, because it's fun drawing the destruction and, it's fun showing that stuff.
Sure.
But if you think about it, that's how he's able to catch up to them.
Yeah.
Because they took the time to stop and blow up a gas station and tear up this sign and do this and do that instead of just going, right? Because they would just be gone.
Their quick getaways not so quick.
Yeah, because it's not like he was right after him. He had to save the guy. He had to get his wits, And so they slowed themselves down, which gave him time to catch up to them. And they, in a Blues Brothers-esque move, find this local shopping mall and start driving through it. Very Blues Brothers-esque. The Ostriker is driving through the middle of an indoor shopping mall, which is awesome. The new models are in early. This mall's got everything. And they line up to take a shot at Bazooka with this new little laser gun. And it's the cliffhanger. Now, you have the actual book.
Yep.
What's the cliffhanger for the issue? Oh, that is the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't tell. I couldn't tell because they have the PDF all put together. So that's the cliffhanger, that he's got a bead on the Ostriker.
And to correct myself, they did do an intelligence profile on Bazooka back in issue 7.
Okay.
And he, in fact, is from the United States.
Oh, that makes sense.
Place of birth is Minnesota.
I love it.
So
I love it. That totally makes sense. So, yeah, of course, he's bringing that football spirit.
Yeah.
And remember, that was a big when they first started bringing football to American football, to England. I think the Bears were one of the first. Literally, the Bears were like one of the first teams they played at Wembley in '87, like around this time. I think that it was a big deal because we were just 15 years removed from Aloha from Hawaii, satellite broadcasting, right?
I'll share with you after this. They had a Spider-Man
Awesome.
mini comic inside. This was back in issue 31.
Cool.
And it very much focuses on American football in the UK, where Spider-Man's
fun.
coming to an American football match in the UK.
Oh, that's great.
But it's all about. It was meant to tell children not to hang out with strangers, because basically it's Spider-Man.
Only masked strangers.
Spider-Man is supposed to cover
Leotard.
this story, and anyway, there's some kids hanging around after the game. They're like, "We want to meet the team,"
Yeah.
and then some stranger comes up and kidnaps one of the kids, and Spider-Man has to rescue
stranger
him.
comes up and says, "You're going to watch me put on a Crimson Guards outfit."
Exactly.
Hold on a second. All right, so we get to the final issue here, and what's the cover? What cover are we looking
So this
at?
cover is not my favorite.
No.
Not in a lot of ways. It's Bazooka in the Ostriker crashing supposedly through some glass, but the Ostriker is behind the glass still. So
Yeah.
it's a little nonsensical.
I love the Ostriker and I love Bazooka. I don't like the glass work.
Yeah. And this is Jeff Sr. again, so I'm a little, Jeff, I don't know, maybe he had an off week.
Well, again, I wonder if he did the character and then they
Mucked with the
editorial did the layout. Yeah, because that's a fun. I mean, that's a fun Ostriker. It really is. I like it. I like he's coming at the camera. He's got his hands up. He technically doesn't need to be in the air. Like that could be on the ground. That could be just him on the ground looking up and saluting or whatever at the camera.
There's a panel in the actual story where the Ostriker were lower with the camera, and the Ostriker's like flying up like this. That I feel is more dynamic than looking down on it here. But
yeah, no, you're probably right.
If this was like a ceiling of glass that had been shattered and was like falling on him.
Well, you need a listeners, if you're watching that, and they strangely don't have the covers on Blood for the Baron, so you have to seek this cover out. If you right around where the words Action Force is on the Ostriker, if you put the wall that he's busting over, or through or whatever it is, you ground it with a floor there,
right?
Then it's different. Then he's barreling over something.
Sure.
And he's coming into frame. And so you get rid of all that like overlay glass. You put that wall there. Put the glass behind that wall. So there's no glass in the lower right of the actual comic book. Different.
Yeah.
I think that's a more powerful picture. But you're right. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I don't love it. But I like the rendering. But I don't love the layout. So we pick up with the guys... the Dreadnoks have him in their sights. They're about to fire, and he swerves, very Blues Brothers-esque. He swerves into a department store. Ground floor ladies fashions, swimwear, broken glass going through. That's the image that they're capturing on the front.
Sure. Sunday
Drivers Part 2. And suspiciously, they never actually shot at him. What I really dig is the cannon on the Ostriker. When he went through that store, picked up a coat.
Yes.
A raincoat. And it stays on the Ostriker for the rest of the story. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we learned, Ripper says, hey, Buzzer, why didn't you blast him? And Buzzer says, I was trying. Stupid thing wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ostriker is making its way through the mall. And this old soldier, Alfred Taylor, nonplussed by the whole thing.
Doesn't even say anything. He's just pointing.
Just points. And he's already looking forward to the best Sunday he's had in years. And these guys just continue to race all over the mall, up and down the mall. Crashing through more stores. It completely is Blues Brothers.
Yeah, they crash into a toy store, though.
Do you have this? Do you have Miss Piggy? There's Bill Murray asking for Miss Piggy. We see some Transformers toys getting knocked around.
I have to say, the size of this toy store in a mall,
epic.
I mean, this is like a Toys R Us size toy store in like a KB.
They call them
Toys.
Anchor. Yeah, like it has to be a Toys R Us Anchor. If it was KB, it's funny because I was reading this thinking about my old KB.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, this is not even. This one aisle was the size of my old KB.
Right.
Yeah, you could fit one Ostriker in KB.
And it is funny that, they're on bikes, in this mall, and he's in this giant, dune buggy, basically. It doesn't get out and like walk around. I don't know.
Coat's still on it though.
Yep.
But that's what's great about the dune buggy, right? All terrain.
That's true.
You could get around.
You can drive up staircases.
Over glass. Like there's so much broken glass in this. And then as he drives back through the mall, the old guy now points the other direction. This would be a great Benny Hill-esque short movie.
Yeah.
I feel it's what they're doing here. Mm-hmm. They're trying to capture that madness where that old man is, every time you show him, he's just the center and he's the frame, and you just see him going, oh, this way, and then oh, this way, oh, that way. So he goes upstairs, more glasses. This time they go into a Halford's. It's a special oil, so it sounds like a Halford's. It says paint and wallpaper. Maybe like a Home Depot kind of place.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like a Sears or whatever.
Sears, yeah. And we learned that Bazooka says, this isn't getting me anywhere. Phelps gave me just 1 hour to recover that gun, and I've got maybe 20 minutes before he reports the theft to Flint. Face, Bazooka. One more slip up, and they're going to drum you out of Action Force for good. So this is nice character stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
And it, explains why he's willing to put millions of dollars of property damage, millions at this point. Like, right? Even in 80s money,
Yeah.
we're in the millions. He's destroyed buildings and all that stuff.
Although he can clearly just blame it on the Dreadnoughts. So
Totally, yeah. And the Dreadnoughts hit a slick of like oil. There's oil all over.
Well, but what happens here is so they crash into this. I'm going to
Right.
call it Sears, this Halfords.
Yep.
And one of these castor oil cans, you don't quite see how it gets there, but it basically rolls. Oh yeah, you can see it falling off the banister.
Yep.
It hits the ground floor and it rolls up next to the feet of this old man.
Yep.
So it's the old man with this one, like we'll say 12, 16 ounce can of castor oil has somehow covered the entire floor of the downstairs with castor oil. So when the Dreadnoughts come back down, yeah, they skid out hard.
I like to think that castor oil was in such high demand that whatever this store is would have a giant display of it in the front. Hey, we got castor oil on sale. We have so much castor oil, we need to move. That's hilarious. I thought it's funny. You're right. It's in because castor oil is what you give to, like, for drinking, right? Like for medicinal purposes.
No.
Isn't that what castor oil is? It's not for cars.
It's hang on. I've never actually.
I feel like castor oil was something they were always giving sick people in old Western movies.
Castor. It's for like hair. Like it's a laxative.
It's a laxative. Oh, right. So it is for human consumption.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
motor oil. I think when I
Right.
read this, I think I missed that it was castor oil and I thought it was like motor oil.
It's like may help reduce inflammation and pain associated with arthritis and joint pain. It's used for wound healing and skin hydration, denture care, hair treatments. Yeah.
So apparently, a big. Well, listen, look at all the action at this mall. A lot of people are getting hurt. They're gonna need some castor oil. So the Dreadnoughts wipe out in there for sure. Bazooka captures that gun.
Yeah.
Now they when they wipe out, Buzzer says there's oil all over the floor. I've lost the gun. Ripper says forget it. Let's just split. So they're gone. They're out of the. There's no attempt to capture them after all this mayhem.
Yeah,
That's it. They're gone.
I love this though, where Bazooka's thanks old timer. Nice trick with the oil. You deserve a medal.
Yep.
And this reveal where the old timer
Pulls his coat back.
finally says something.
Where would I put it? And he goes, Jiminy, you must have been one heck of a soldier. And that's great.
He's adorned with so many medals.
Yeah, he's probably fought in some war against Prussia. I'm assuming.
It's
Prussia.
amazing. Yeah.
That's how old this guy is.
Higher ranking than Hawk and Keelhaul.
Oh, my God. He gets the biggest salute ever from Bazooka, which is really great. The old man laughs. And Bazooka, driving his Ostriker, it still has the coat. There's a teddy bear, which is, by the way, I believe a Care Bear because it's got the heart on it.
Yeah.
It's got paint all over the Ostriker. And he says, Phelps, this is Bazooka. I've got it. I got it back. And he hears, is that a fact, Bazooka? And it's Flint on the other side of the phone.
You can even see the sign that the Dreadnoughts cut in half on their way out of town. I love the continuity there.
That's great. And Flint says, I tried to raise you about an hour ago, but your dedication to the weapon test made you a little elusive. I was going to tell you what you probably found out by now. The gun doesn't work. Bum, bum, bum. So the whole thing was for naught. Oh, and by the way, Phelps, I spotted a hole in your perimeter fence on the way in. When Bazooka gets back, send him out to the shops and buy some fencing. There's a good man. Buy it from Dreadnoughts Fencing, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
Flint consistently, in the story where he's like, no, does the kid need some consoling?
Yeah.
No, he just needs to be alone. Bazooka, when he gets back here, put him to work. I mean,
Flint's a taskmaster. He's a different cat. He's a different cat. So
Chisel.
do you think Flint knows that there was a massacre at the mall? I mean, we don't see anyone die, so thankfully there's no one dead. But like, just does he know about this? Like, is he just kind of going wink, wink, nod, nod? In other words, when he says, send him out to the store, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I know what he was up to there. Like, we got reports.
Flint is not. I think he knows more than he's letting on for sure.
Yeah. If the gun didn't work, why were they out there in the first place? I mean, to test it, but like, how did they?
How
did they find out?
So because he says the gun doesn't work, fundamental design fault. apparently it's totally useless. Because he says apparently, I think this is new information.
Right.
I think that.
Well, how did they find that out if they have the gun? If Bazooka has the gun, how did Flint learn that it was useless?
I think that maybe the engineers were looking at their computer, diagnostics
Again,
and like, wait a minute, this isn't actually going to work, is it?
Nitpicking.
Yeah.
Nitpicking. What I would say is I would go back to the writer and say it can't just be that it doesn't work. What I would say is there is a piece missing.
Yeah.
So when he goes, when you get back, we forgot to install the activator switch or, the firing pin or the whatever it is.
Yeah, someone walks in the room holding something.
Yes. And there's a component missing that they forgot. It was a legit we screwed up, but it was never going to work without this.
Sure.
Not just, it don't work.
Right.
It'll work. Yeah, I think you get the exact same accomplishment, but it's a little more plausible.
And would make Bazooka feel a little better. Like, well, I brought it back because you need it back, right?
Yeah,
You just need to put the part on it
also,
or whatever.
Because if he had let them keep it, they might have found whatever we don't even know what the experimental part of it was. They never really get into that. But they could have figured out a way to make it work.
Yeah.
You give that gun to Destro, and in a couple weeks, all of a sudden you got a functional whatever kind of gun it is. Anyway.
The look on Flint's face, though, he's just like, smiles.
He smiles. He
he's
knows.
just having a good time.
He knows. But you want to know why? Because Flint, while the Dreadnoks run the fencing service, Flint runs the insurance company.
That's right.
No, that wouldn't be good because they'd have to pay out. Flint runs the contractor. Flint runs the contractor that builds them all. So he knows he's going to make a lot of money on the back end.
Everyone's got a side hustle.
Everyone's got a side hustle. You got to have a side hustle. So I loved it. Listeners, thank you for going with us. I know this went long, but I think it was a lot of fun. I think we covered a lot of ground here. I hope you're enjoying Joe-Nie Loves Action Force as much as we are.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next week for some more issues. We promise that this is the longest one we're going to do.
It will be, yeah.
It will be. But I think we had a lot of fun doing it. So, Michael, thank you so much for another week of fun.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joe.
Wonderful. And now you, Joe, and Joeing is half the battle.
Full force.
Full force.